on more in relation to this particular subject. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, and good evening to your listeners.
Good evening to you too. What happened to that train that I'm sure it went through my village because the rail line goes through my community on the way to the eastern region? What happened?
Yeah, today approximately about 12:15, the ministry, in collaboration with our Polish engineers, with the Ghana Rail Development Authority and the company, conducted a test run, and from kilometer 0, which is at the workshop, Tema, towards kilometer 98 at Mpakadan. On approaching kilometer 76, a Kia truck passed right across the rail line, stationary. And, it was in a curve. So as the train approached, the driver tried to apply the static brake to enable the train stop. But because it was very close to the Kia truck, unable to stop, and therefore ran straight into it. The engineers are currently working on it. The train has been brought back to the workshop. The Kia driver himself has reported himself to the police station. But the conduct of the driver as of now cannot be well explained. And the good thing is that all the passengers and the inspectors on board the train, of course, none of them got injured. And we are currently in the process of assessing the damage to the train. Technically, I would say the train is still in very good form. Nothing in terms of electrical or the engine has been disturbed, except the fronts that got slightly damaged. The Polish engineers who were assembling the train are in charge, expected to be handed over to government, but government had not yet taken a complete ownership of the train. So we are hoping that the insurance company will work on it as quickly as possible for us to put this train back on the line.
So where exactly did this happen, these accidents? The kilometer 76?
Kilometer 76, that's getting quite close to Mpakadan, yeah.
So it had crossed the Volta River by then?
Precisely.
I see. Talk to us about, so you said everybody on board was safe.
Everybody is safe, yeah.
The Kia truck driver has reported himself. There were no passengers on the Kia truck, I presume?
My brother, it was quite an unfortunate incident because what we were told, eyewitness, state categorically that they saw the Kia driver. He drove his truck, then went and parked straight across the rail line, came down from the car, and then vanished. And so nobody knows what prompted him to do that. The intention is not quite clear. I don't want to read any ill motives into it at this stage, but I can assure you that the police are in charge of the investigations, and at the appropriate time will feed Ghanaians with what actually happened.
Was the test run publicized so that someone may know that a train is going to pass through a certain point at a certain time? And I'm talking about possibility of someone doing this on purpose. Was this test run advertised or publicized?
Well, of course, the engineers, they normally use this, the maintenance truck on the line. So, of course, they inform people, by that this thing is going to be conducted. And this is a train line, which the maintenance vehicle always slide on it. So, yes, of course, communities along knows that this process is ongoing.
Could there also be a possibility that they do not know that it's going to be used by a regular train? Because, it's a new line, which is
I agree perfectly with you, but as our culture needs to change as a country. You don't... This is a train line. It's been constructed not quite long, but they are constantly, the maintenance truck, run on that line almost every day. So, under no circumstances would you have to drive your car and park on it.
Even the line...
The maintenance truck. I was on the maintenance truck just about 2 days ago. We taking a drive from Tema to Mpakada, we had to stop almost about 5 stops because people were sleeping on the line. People were, doing all kinds of things, drying. People were washing their things and drying in across the line. So I agree that we need to do a lot of education, as human as we are and people from, this part of the world. We will continue to do that kind of education, which I agree perfectly with you.
Even busy lines like the one at Circle is a place where goods are exhibited for sale. People only move them when the train is coming. So it's really going to be a difficult one. I don't know what you're going to do because you can't police the track every day, 24 hours a day. And at intersections that you have done overpasses, that shouldn't be a problem. But because you have a lot of intersections where roads are crossing the rail line, I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe level crossings. How are you going to deal with that? Put people at those stations. It's going to be a lot of work, isn't it?
This particular line is a modern line. If you look at the underpass and the overpasses that have been constructed along this line, we don't expect anybody to cross this train line. The designers have taken all this into consideration. So if you write down from kilometer 0 to, Mpakada, you see a number of underpasses and overpasses. Okay. So this is not like the old ones where you have, people crossing left and right. If you want to cross and the train is moving, you either go underpass or you go overpass, depending on the kilometer at which you are. As much as we continue to do the education and the training of the people around, it's also expected that as a country, we should begin, to change some of this attitude. I agree with you that the old lines people are there, but those ones, because there are no underpasses and overpasses, this one has been constructed to fit the modern practices. So we have to adhere to the culture of, doing the right thing.
Let's talk about this new train you were test driving or test riding today. We brought it from Poland. Is it for us? Is it for some private person? Tell us the story around this new train we have.
This is purchased by His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo's government for the good people of Ghana. So it's not for any other person. It's for the people of Ghana and for the Republic of Ghana. So it's our train. It's part of the aggressive agenda by His Excellency to make sure that we revitalize our railway sector. So it's for us Ghanaians, and it's going to be run, by Ghanaians. Training has been conducted, and I can assure you that this would, add a number of value to the people who live up there in terms of their transportation down to Accra.
Can we know what the terms of purchase are? Did we buy it on a loan? Did we pay upfront?
It was an outright purchase. And it's going to be run by Ghanaians.
So it will belong to the Railway Development Authority. How much did we buy this train for, please? And how many coaches do we have?
I'm not in a position, but I think that one of them is in excess of about 7 million, if I'm right.
Dollars or cedis?
Yes.
Dollars. So we bought two trains.
Yes, please.
How many coaches per train?
This is not for freight. This is for passengers. So this is a DMU. We call it diesel multiple unit or double multiple unit, whatever it is. But it's a diesel multiple unit. So you have both the front end and then the back end. So it doesn't have the coaches attached because it's solely for passenger but not for freight.
So it's just one short bus. It's not a number of buses.
It can carry quite close to about 200. So it's quite long. It's a long and a very beautiful train. It has a lot of beautiful facilities and modern facilities, charging points, urinal, toilets, communication system. You enjoy. This is a train that you can take, on any long distance. If you're traveling from the modern world to any other part of the country.
I was going to complain that you should have taken me on the test ride so I see for myself. But considering the accident you encountered today, I'm happy I didn't go.
No. I'm going to do that. My only fear is that maybe you wouldn't want to come down if you board that train. It's so comfortable.
I'll alight at Loom and then walk to Asuchari Junction. But
we'll definitely do that.
So there are two of them.
And there's going to be a tour for weekends. We're going to run a tour for people who want to use the train for other purposes. So there's a lot of facilities coming on board when the president commissioned this.
Did we bring both into the country, or one is in the country for now?
One is in the country now. The other one is on the way. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we're going to commission this, start running it, and then it's joined by the second one.
When are we commissioning it? Do you have a date yet?
We expected to do this. We want to do the test run for at least 3 weeks. So we expected to do this in by the close of May or first week in June. Our expectation is that the test run should be done at least for between 2 to 3 weeks. Then the president comes and commissions the train together with the line. You've seen the line, very beautiful.
Yes.
From Tema to Mpakadan.
Yes,
the
I have.
First ever rail bridge that we have had in the South region. A rail bridge across River Volta Ascension. Very, very beautiful one, of course. And it serves also as a tourist potential for this country. So as Ghanaian, we need to be extremely grateful for what His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo has done once again. I'm quite happy myself.
That train track was intended to cut goods from the Tema port to the batches on the Volta River or Volta Lake for northwards bound traffic, so that people from Burkina and Niger who are coming to take goods from us will not have to bring their trucks down south here, so that we would dispatch the goods on the batches and take them to Yape or wherever it will terminate on the Volta River. So the thinking was that you were going to put cargo trains on the line. Why are you putting passenger trains on the line?
No. Every train line, depending on the intent, we either have freight or passenger. So we are not only putting a passenger on it; it's also going to be a freight. The freight will come in when the terminal at Mpakadan is completed, and also we need to make sure that together with the Ministry of Transport, some work would have to be done, along the Volta line upward, so that it will be very easy to put a badge, on that line, the river, and then run the goods to that end. So that is in progress. It's work in progress. While we continue to pursue that agenda, what I intend to do within the medium term now is to start the operation of a passenger while we work towards a freight arrangement in the near future.
Are you going to put both passenger trains on this particular line, or the second one, which is yet to come, would be on a different line?
No, it's going to be on the same line. It's the same line, just like a route from Acra to Kumasi. It takes both private vehicles and then the articulator or the long vehicle. So
no. I'm talking about the two passenger lines from trains from Poland. Both of them are going to be on the Tema Akosombo line. Precisely,
because it's constructed for a double gauge, not the standard gauge, not the narrow gauge that we see. So this is a standard gauge, so it's going to work to fit that.
Okay. The question that would come up is: have you done the passenger analysis, to know how many people from Akosombo come to Accra daily or Tema daily, and whether or not these people would be willing to join the train, so that it's not going to be an empty train on the tracks where we would be losing money?
Yes, some feasibility studies have been done. And of course, again, you have to admit the fact that this is a social service. All across the world, running a train business in terms of the passenger, it's not economically a viable business. There's always that viability gap that are closed by governments across the world. Until you begin to run a freight business, then you begin to make some return on your investment. We have done some feasibility studies, of course, and we expect that within the first month to start with, we are going to have about 70%, capacity full of this train moving between Bon, Japan, and then the Tema. The capacity of the train is in excess of about 200 people. And so if we are able to run on that, we should be able to cover our operational costs at least, but not necessarily to cover the initial investment cost, which is quite expensive.
I'm familiar with that area. I'm familiar with where the train lines pass, and I'm also familiar with where the Tema Akosombo road passes. The line is a bit far from the main Tema to Akosombo road, where you have people inhabiting. How are you going to deal with that? Because if I were living at Asuchari Junction, it would take me a lot of time to move to, say, Agomeda or Lom or Gigedokun, where I go to board this train. If I were living in Akuse or Kpong, it would take me a longer time to go to where the train passes. How are you going to arrange that particular transport service? Because the rail line is not moving along the main road. So How are you going to get passengers to move all the way there, western side
You're
of the
right.
line?
What we've done now is to construct what we call access roads from the main road to the train station. We have over 8 train stations, modern train stations, built to specification that passengers can go and park their vehicles, wait for the train. The train is going to run, according to time. So you can drive there. We have a very vast parking area where you park your vehicles, and then you can board the train depending on your time of arrival. So it's very convenient. People, if you are moving from Akosombo now to Tema, you agree with me the traffic density, especially as you get close to the Tema runabout, the traffic density is quite intense. And so people ordinarily will now begin to park their vehicle and join the train to Tema. I mean, if I'm even traveling from home and I get to Fon, I think it would be ideal for me to join a train from Fon to Accra, than to go through that traffic, which is going to take you almost about 2 to 3 hours. So we expect passengers to get interested in this new arrangement and also ease some traffic on the line as we progress.
It sounds good, but if I took a train from Juapon, where the line passes again, I would be happy that the train terminates in Accra. I don't want to stop at Tema. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that when the train gets to Tema, it continues to Accra and vice versa from Accra to Juapon, so that I don't have to know that I need to go to Tema to take a train to Akosombo, or I have to end at Tema when I'm coming to Accra? What can you do? Because we already have a line to Accra, don't we?
Yeah, currently there's a section, the narrow gauge runs from Tema to Accra currently. And so from Mpakadan to Tema, we're going to synchronize the time arrival of that train so that they will be able to move from Tema to Accra. We're trying to bring another train from Takoradi. Currently, there are 2 trains in Takoradi. One of them been parked for some years now, but not being used. It's fairly new. So we are bringing that to Accra to complement the old narrow gauge that we have. So when this one arrives, those who are going to Accra, of course, can board the old one, which is running on the narrow gauge to Accra, from Tema to Accra. That arrangement is taken care of. Yeah.
So this means that the new train we have cannot use the Tema to Accra line. It's not possible, technically.
No, because it has not been designed for that. The design, as I stated earlier on, specifically for a standard gauge. So you cannot drive from a standard gauge onto a narrow gauge and continue. So
it means that if you're coming from Akosombo to Accra, you have to take the first train, end at Tema, and then take the second one from Tema to Accra.
Precisely.
I see. Someone has sent me a question to ask you. He says, does the train have a radar? And this has to do with the accident, which radar I believe would have prompted the train about obstruction ahead.
Yes, this train has all the modern facilities. As we started a test run today, those facilities are also being worked on, and so the detection of the vehicle on the line was not affected in terms of the arrival. What happened actually is that the driver was able to see some few this time because it was parked in the tent. But the radar and the other detection facilities have not yet been put into full implementation.
Okay, so we do not have
that. The assembling of this train commenced just about 3 weeks. So what we're doing now is just testing the physical stability of the train itself to see the level at which it can move. So as assembling is about completion, they are just testing the train itself. We're going to test all the other facilities along the line.
So moving forward, this radar that is going to be installed would alert the train to a blockade or an obstruction ahead. So we should not expect a similar accident in the future where someone abandons a Kia truck on the track, even if it's in a corner.
Yes, that will happen. That will happen definitely. The train can even stop from the station in Tema. That has also not been activated. There is a mechanism built in the train which is connected to the control station in Tema, where somebody can sit in the control station, and if the train is at kilometer 46, the person can sit in the control station in Tema and stop the train. That has not been activated. So all those things are put in place. We will be able to minimize some of these occurrences in the near future.
Okay, a few more questions. Forgive me, it's not every day we get you. So when I get you, I try to ask all the questions that I can. So many people are asking questions about this whole project.
I know the interest this train is generating, so I'm available to answer them.
Great. Now, the only passenger train we have currently moves from Tema to Accra. It was imported in 1987, the year I was born, which means it is older than me. How old is this train that we are bringing in?
This is brand new train. I think it arrived in Ghana about 3 weeks ago, so it's about 21 days old.
21 days since it was imported, but how old is it? When was it fixed?
So the manufacturing process commenced, I think, less than a year, or barely a year. But it's a brand new train. The first ever kilometer it runs in terms of what we are witnessing now, the longest is what we saw in Ghana. We did some test runs when the technical team went to Poland for inspection. Test run has also been done there before it was shipped together. So it's a brand new train.
Okay. The next question is coming through from Francis in Accra. He says, please ask the minister about Ayalolo buses. If government could not manage common buses, how much more trains, which are more costly? The person is talking about maintenance. How are we going to maintain this new beautiful train?
That is why I stated earlier about the culture. The person who asked the question asked a very brilliant question. And it depends on his culture also as a citizen of this country. So our culture of maintenance, we're going to improve on it. I agree with him perfectly. But I think that person may also have the same deficiency. So as a country, let's all look into that. Okay. But I can promise that, there are mechanisms in place to make sure that this particular train is maintained.
Okay. There's a question again from another person who is interested on the line to Amasaman, the Nsawam line, and says, I should ask you if you are aware the theft of the Kotoku railway tracks. People are stealing the metals that are used for that line because it has been out of use for months now, if not years.
Yes, the thing has been going on for some time now. Even just yesterday, we have to alert the national security and the police about it. It again runs to the same point, the last question, the person who asked the last question. So it's the same thing about the culture of the people that we govern. How would you just go and be stealing a line? I can understand sometimes, but it is the responsibility of the law enforcement agency to do that. I am a minister. I'm responsible to build, rail lines. So the best we have done and which we continue to do is to alert the various agencies. And I think the police have worked very, very well on that. The national security have been informed. And so I just want to use this medium to sound a warning that, if you are caught, you'll be dealt with. The law is there. People who are caught will definitely be dealt with. So it's true that suffering is going on. Yes.
Okay. Another questioner wants you to clarify more on the park and ride. Do you have a parking lot at these stations where a person can come and park their car and take the train to Accra or Tema and know that their car is safe?
Beautiful parking lot. Built to international standards. You enjoy in the night time. You can have the best of all. I mean, every facility is at this station. The parking lot, you have, washroom, offices, big vast area for entertainment and a lot of other facilities. Okay. So this is one of the modern cities that we put in up here.
Okay. Mousy's question from Abutia 30.
My goodness.
His question is from Abutia 30 in the Volta, which an area you know much about. He wants to know how much it will cost to ride, but I'm sure you are yet to figure out the pricing. Have you settled on the fares yet?
How much it will cost to
take a train from, say, Akosombo, if you have the fare list yet?
Well, I think from Japan to Accra, we're estimating 80 Ghana cedis.
That's a lot too. How much does a trotro charge?
I have no idea about how much a trotro charge, please.
Look, I'm doing the analysis. I'm doing analysis. That's almost 1 million old CDs. Maro Bucho, Japonva again.
It's not up to 1 million.
800,000. I mean, just to sit in a train. I mean, if I can sit in a 207 Benz bus, I'm not sure it'll be 80 CDs.
No, but this takes you in and takes you back. I mean, we're looking at the. So I think it's between 80 and in Ghana, 100 Ghana cedis.
So
the comfort, also the discomfort that you'll be, considering the traffic and all this. I think this fare is quite fair, and we would try to explain to our customers as we progress about the need to board this train when we start the operation.
So many questions are coming through. I'm not sure we can exhaust all of them. We have to do a sit down so that we can answer all these. But someone wants you to give this train to a private sector company to run. Is that something you would consider? And also, are private people allowed to buy trains and put on this track like a normal road?
Yeah, of course, there's a third-party access. In every modern institution, we try to create a third-party access. And so what we're expecting to do is that if you're a private person and you have for instance, the one for the freight, which people had already applied, we'll open it up for free. And you can bring in your train and run on it. Government construct roads from Accra to Hohe, and you see the state bus running on it. You see private people running on it. And so it is a similar, approach that the trains are also going to run. With this particular one, there are two schools of thought, and they yet to get the clarification and final approval from cabinet to see how we're going to progress. The first school of thought was to come out with some, just like the Ghana Railway Company, of course belonging to government to run. And then the second one is to get a private person to partner, this company and run it. People think that there's nothing stopping government in going to competition with private sector. All over the world, governments are in competition with private sector. If you go to China, most of their best, companies are government companies, and they are in competition with the private sector. We can also do the same in Ghana. So it is not everything that Ghana government runs that is being run down. We should also begin to acknowledge that government has some positive in terms of gains in some areas. And so we can also equally go into competition in the private sector.
Last but one question. Oti Mensah says, when will the trains on the Nsawam-Accra stretch start running? When are you going to open that track?
That's a good question. I can say it offhand now. It all has to do with funding, and I hope you are all aware of our funding issues. So we'll continue to. I can't give you a straight answer to that. I have no idea. Please.
Now, my favorite question. This one is for me. When are we going to see the Sky Train that your predecessor promised us?
The Sky Train?
Yes, when are we going to see the train in the sky? In Accra?
I haven't worked anything on the Sky Train. So I don't think you'll see during my tenure as a Minister of Finance, the Minister of Railway Development. What we intend to do is to approach the Ministry of Finance and solicit some support, as my predecessor started before he left office. The Ministry of Finance was more like the ministry that was driving the financial aspect of bringing that train into the country. I know some progress have been made. The new Minister of Finance is yet to be briefed, and we sit down together to see how we continue. But I don't see it working immediately during my tenure as a Minister of Railway Development. That is not possible, and it cannot be possible.
Thank you. There's someone asking from Hohoe when the train is going to reach there. I don't know if you have an answer for that. When is the track going to go upwards in the OT region so it forms the eastern corridor stretch to the north?
With past experiences and what I've noticed is that it takes about 4 to 5 years to construct a 100 kilometers line. So if the money is made available today, maybe in the next 5 years.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Minister.
Thank you.
That's the Honourable Minister for Railway Development, John Peter Amewu, his MP for Hohoe.